everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay Your Weights, and today I'm going to be reviewing Euphoria Season 2, Episode 2, Out of Touch. Alright, I was still happy for last week. I had a whole great week because I know that Fazco beat Nate's ass, and then what happens? Nate raggedy ass just woke up. And I know what you're thinking, Sharonda, the show needs a villain. You should have known that Nate was going to survive the ass whooping that he got at the end of episode 1, but a girl can dream, can't she? Like, can I just have a little bit of hope that somebody who needs to die was gonna die? But I guess that's not reflective of what truly happens in real life. Cause it always be them raggedy people. You'd be like, Lord, you done took all these good people right now, and then this raggedy ass person over here is still alive, walking, talking, and breathing. I should have known. But the episode opens up with a picture of Nate's bloody face. And then we see that when he kind of comes to, he sees Cassie, and then he sees Maddie, you know, in his view as they are then have to carry him like pallbearers to the car to get him to the hospital. And we kind of see how Nate like holds Cassie's hand while they're in the car, but Maddie's like looking through the rear view mirror like, huh? And I thought she peeped game, but I guess she didn't. And we hear this voiceover from Rue where she's saying that Nate is in love, but it's complicated. And it is complicated because he's in love with two different people. He has this long-lasting love with Maddie that is very toxic and dark and is not good for either one of them. And then he has these new feelings for Cassie. And it just so happens to be that Maddie and Cassie are actually best friends. Rue talks about in the voiceover how Cassie is the opposite of Maddie, how Maddie brings out the worst in him, but he feels like with Cassie that he could surrender himself fully to her. That maybe if he had met Cassie before he met Maddie, maybe he wouldn't have turned out the way that he did. And I think it's normal for people to think this way. And it kind of goes back to how, you know how in like rom-coms they're like, you complete me, you make me a better person. It's just like people can make you a better person, but you have to want to be a better person like on your own first. And so I really just don't want people to have this thinking that, oh, if I would have met this person, I would have been a better person. And yes, people can be bad influences on you, but I want people to really just accept that you control your destiny. Lord, I sound like the self-help people the cat was cursing out in the show, but it's the truth. Like, I don't want people to always think that someone else can make them better. Like, that has to be a decision that you make for yourself. And so he thinks about, you know, what the relationship will be like between him and Cassie. He tells her like, hey, I could see myself spending the rest of my life with you. And then we see her pregnant. And I was just like, okay, we're going a little bit too far with this, but okay, I guess you'd be thinking about it when you meet somebody, or I don't never meet nobody. In my head, I'd be meeting people and I'd be planning our lives together. But I did think it was a dope shot, how they shot Cassie like laying on the bed with all the candles. But the only issue that I do have, okay, y'all, now I know I praise Euphoria for having equal opportunity peen, but if y'all gonna give me all of Sydney's titty meat throughout the course of these episodes this season, then I need to be seeing Jacob's peen at the same time, okay? Because I don't want people to normalize that it's okay for women to just be showing the goods and the dudes don't be having to show nothing, okay? All right? I don't know who I'm talking to, but if somebody's watching that can make this happen, I'm just saying equal opportunity nudity. All right. So we see that as he's imagining, you know, having this life with Cassie, he thinks about how if he were to be a father, that he wouldn't mess his children up how his father did. And we kind of learned that there's some generational trauma because that's how Nate's father, Cal, is with him. That's how Cal's father was with him as well. And so there's something that's being passed down. So I do like trying to think of something pro to say about Nate, that he's thinking about how he would kind of stop this generational cycle of being an asshole to your son. I'm happy that he's realizing that his father's behavior is not normal, it's not okay. And if he were to procreate, which I hope that he doesn't, okay, because he's crazy, but if he were to procreate, that he would be different than his dad. Now, I thought it was really weird, even in the daydream, when he was like, hey, what mama to be is ready to take a dip. And I said, sir, what? Like, why are you talking, like, huh? Why are you talking to her like that? It was just so creepy and weird. And then we see that Nate, like, you know, he wishes that his dad would die of a heart attack so they can be rid of him. And it's just this really toxic relationship that we've always seen between Nate and Cal, and I hope that they delve a little bit deeper into that throughout the course of this season. But we see that Nate ends up waking up, and this is when I was upset because I was like, why is this hoe awake in the first place? He should have just stayed asleep forever. But he wakes up, and we kind of see Cal is trying to get out of him, like, who was responsible for beating you? And he tells him, like, I don't know, but Cal knows that something isn't right. He knows that he isn't lying. But that hit deep when it was like, it's one thing to hate your dad, but it's another thing for you to hate your child. Like, that's a choice. And that is a choice. And I want them to explore that a little bit more about why does Cal hold such contempt for Nate. It doesn't feel like he has this type of relationship with his other children. But even the other brother that we never talk about, but we always see him in the picture, is he dead? Is he alive? Will we ever get answers for that? Because I kind of need answers for that too. I know I'm going off on a side tangent, but Nate has 2 other brothers. I've only seen one. He has another one that's always in the pictures, but we never actually seen him. I don't know if he's alive, is he dead, what is going on? I need answers. I need an explanation for that. If it's something I missed, let me know in the comment section below. I know y'all love to get me together in the comment section. Let me know in the comment sections if I missed something, but I don't think I have, all right? But we see that Nate, survives the ass whooping that he got. He was beat nearly half to death. We see glimpses of Cal praying for him. We see that he starts seizing, and so, this is serious. Like, Nate almost died. Should have, but hey, you don't always get what you want, do you? But we're gonna stop for that, and we're gonna go to Rue, okay? Because Rue got a lot going on, child. Rue is the first day of school after the new year. Rue and Jules, they're together. They're happy. They're kissing. Rue look high as a kite, and I don't know how Jules doesn't see this, but it is what it is. And then she was like, you look like a dream. She was like, oh, I didn't know you were romantic. And I'm just like, Jules, how can you not see that this girl is hot? How can you not see it? I know you're not that much in love to see it. You were able to point it out at the party talking about you relapsed and listen to her saying that it was weed. I'm just like, no, this not adding up. But Rue ends up seeing Elliot. Then she got a crazy look because she sees Elliot coming towards her. She forgot that she met her, then almost died in front of him. Then they became friends because they started doing drugs together. And he pops up and she was like, Lord, please don't let him tell this girl that I am doing drugs and that's how we met. So things are pretty much awkward because Jules is sitting up like, hold on, who this hoe? Who this? That you being all awkward about and not wanting to tell me how y'all met. It's all crazy. And then, he was like, we met at the New Year's party. And then she's like, oh yeah. And I'm just like, sis, I need you to play this down a little bit better. I know you're on drugs, but you have to be like a functioning drug addict at this point. So even when Jules leaves and she's clearly upset, he was like, ruined her head, like, this was really awkward. And then Elliot just says what everybody was thinking, like, this was awkward as hell. And I was like, exactly. But it was when he was like, I didn't know you were, I felt like he was going to say, I didn't know that, like, you like women. But then Jules was like in a relationship. And I was just like, this is just too much. Somebody needs to just end this conversation and go their separate ways. But we see that Jules, I keep wanting to say Rules instead of Jules, so bear with me if I say that, but she walks away. She's like, she's damn near about to cry, okay? And this is when I was just thinking, like, maybe Rules isn't the relationship type. I just don't think relationships work for her. And especially like when Jules was giving her the business about, why was this, what was going on? This obvious, you got a crush on him. What is happening? Child, I was getting attacked for Rue, okay? I said, baby, we just got together. You doing all of this? Like, why you asking me all these damn questions? After I've been like fawning over you for a whole season, okay? And then you ask me about this dude, Elliot. Like, I mean, Elliot can get it too, though. Let me just say. But I was annoyed for her, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious when Elliot walks up after Jules walks away, because she's like, I gotta get home before I get grounded. And he was like, did I like cause some issues? And then she was kind of just like, yeah. He was like, you know what? Maybe we should just do drugs. And in the face that Rue made, I was like, Lord, please somebody get her some help. But I was dying laughing. But I will say that Rue dancing while smoking weed was definitely a vibe. That doesn't mean that I'm condoning people should go out and do drugs. But this whole thing between Rue rapping to Hit 'Em Up last week and then now her dancing, I was just like, it's a vibe for me that I'm actually here for, minus the drug usage. But We see that we get a little bit more insight into who Elliot is, and who is actually Dominic. I think it's Dominic Fike. He's actually a good musician. Thank y'all for putting me onto his music. Thank you. But in this, he's a musician as well, and he makes money, and that's how he pays for drugs. And they basically been doing drugs ever since the New Year's party. And I thought it was interesting because Rue was supposed to have dinner with Jules, but she was getting high with Elliot. And I like that her dad was like, hey, like, is Rue a good influence for you? And she was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, she is the reason that she got on the train. But I was happy that Jules took accountability for her own actions and was like, well, she didn't make me get on the train. Like, I chose to get on the train. But clearly, you're missing the signs, Jules. I don't know why. Is she just that in love that everything is just going above her head? I don't know, but it's clear as day to me on what is actually happening. But I was happy that her dad, like, recognized to check in with her about that and kind of ask her, like, hey, should you be with Rue? Like, I know y'all had this whole friend thing, but, like, really think about, is this something that is good for you and what you're trying to overcome as well? Because Jules does have her own demons and issues that she's trying to grapple with as well. So, Rue and Elliot actually has a very interesting conversation. And it's this conversation where she's saying that drugs allow her to be, like, who she is. And it's interesting because it's kind of like when we think about, oh, when I get drunk, like, I'm more adventurous. Like, I'll go talk to people. I'll do things that I normally wouldn't do. But it doesn't mean that that's not in you. It's like you become dependent on something else to bring out something that has always been a part of you. And I thought that was a really interesting question. I mean, an interesting statement that, you know, she kind of had. And I'm sorry, y'all, my allergies, so let me clear my throat, but my allergies is being a little yatch to me these past couple of weeks. So she talks about how she's this deeply shy person and how when she saw Jules, she was immediately in love with her. And then Elliot kind of makes a comment and she was like, well, how you say it makes it feel small. But, you know, then the question is asked, what is a bigger feeling than love? And when she said loss, I felt that. And she talks about how when she saw Jules, and she was so in love that she immediately became afraid of what would happen if she would lose her. And I think that it's something very interesting from Rue's perspective. And actually, as somebody who has dealt with a lot of death and loss in my life, I think that's one of the hardest things to really have to face is how to really let yourself love, to care for people. Like, you already have those people who are built in, like your family system. But as someone who's not only lost so many family members, I've lost my best friend, I've lost people who are like brothers to me, I've lost so many people, and it makes you scared to really open up and give yourself to someone, to let somebody, to make a choice, to allow yourself to love and care for someone. I thought it was so interesting that she said that, and that Elliot follows up with this question about, well, is your dad, because she tells about, you know, her dad having cancer, is your dad the reason that you started doing drugs? And she makes a statement that, like, even if he didn't die from cancer and was still here, I think I always would have done drugs. And I thought that's a really interesting thought process, and I would love if they would actually explore that a little more deeper. I was like, I don't know, y'all know, Sharana, you always be looking too deep into stuff, but I was just like, hey, I have lived a life, and it's been a crazy life. But those were some interesting questions that they were talking about. I was like, Chad, I ain't got to be on drugs to realize they were speaking truth in that whole conversation. So we see that she ends up going to, no, actually, let me go on something else. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So it's funny how Elliot reminds her that it's still very recent that she lost her dad, because she says that, hey, I was 14 when it happened. He was like, oh, so recently? And she was like, no, it was a while ago. But it's weird when you're dealing with death that it feels like so long, because you go through so many different stages of grief after losing someone. But to someone else, it's like, well, you just lost someone. So it's crazy how she can be so detached, but not really be detached. And I thought it was interesting that she sees it as her dad died so long ago, but Elliot's like, no, this is still recent. Like, it's still okay for you to be dealing with your father's death. And I like how they talk about everybody's looking for like this cause and effect. Like, because I did this, that means that something else had to have happened. And sometimes things just happen. It doesn't have to have this bigger overarching explanation behind it. Man, they really, like, Sam really be talking about some real stuff, and I wish we could just do a whole therapy session about it. Like, can we just talk about that scene? Because I can talk about that scene for hours, all right? But I'm going to keep moving on because I know y'all like, Sharana, what is happening? What is going on? But we see Elliot talking to his fine-ass sister. I'm just going to assume that's his sister, because she acts like, who is this girl? Keep coming over. And he's like, oh, that's just my friend. And she was like, you ain't never brought this many friends over. So obviously Elliot has a crush on her. But it's weird because, you know, he thinks that they also bring out, like, they don't bring out the best in each other because they're codependent on each other because they both do drugs. And as Rue is riding her little bicycle, she ends up seeing Nate and Cassie meeting up, and Rue is like, what the F? And I'm like, exactly, what the F is Cassie doing? That is literally me the whole season. What is Cassie doing? These choices, these decisions that she is making. But Rue ends up going to her NA meeting, and I don't know what compelled her to sit on the lecture chair, like, you know, the little chair for people who can't walk up the steps to go up there. Clearly she's high, showing up to the NA meeting high. Ali just standing at the top of the steps like, look at this raggedy trick. I know she high. He was like, it's clear that you're still on your suicide mission. And Rue is just like, it is what it is, was good. But now she fell asleep at NA. And then we see that Ali offers to take Rue home because clearly she's high. And when they pull up, you know, he takes the keys out. She's like, hold on, bruh, what you doing? He's like, I'm finna go introduce myself to your mama because she probably wondered what 54-year-old crackhead is taking her young daughter home in the first place. And then she was like, well, what you finna say? And he was like, oh, you shook like I'm finna snitch on you. And I was like, well, are you gonna snitch on her? And then when I say Rue was looking so scared when he got into that house and introduced himself, and the mama asked him like, how's she doing? And he was like, look, she got along. He was like, I don't know if that was a question or a statement, but Rue has a long way to go, okay? She has a lot of work to do. Rue was looking so shook. I was dying laughing. You weren't talking all that smack when he was up in the house and you thought he was finna snitch on your behind. But Rue mama knew what it was, talking about Ali is handsome. I was like, girl, go ahead and say he fine. Let me find a Coma Domingo, okay? Fine, brother. So, sorry, got sidetracked again. So, let's talk about Cassie, raggedy behind. So, Cassie's been depressed ever since Nate got his ass beat. And I was happy that Maddie told Cassie, you know, when they're in the pool, and she's talking about how she's going to be abstinent and she wants to be by herself. And she was like, baby, you love to be loved. Like, you are a relationship type of girl. And everybody has that friend who loves to be in relationships, can't stand to be without somebody. Like, I definitely have some friends like that, all right? I know y'all do too. But I think it's weird that they do this voiceover of Cassie talking about how she would have never done anything with Nate if they were still together. And I'm like, baby, it don't matter if they were together or not. That's your best friend, and you're sleeping with the guys who, in her mind, is the love of her life. But Nate, thank you for showing what that mouth do. Okay, teach these people to understand what the mouth do. But Maddie ends up telling Cassie about the text that Nate sent where, you know, he's like, thanks for taking care of me. I'll love you always and forever. Clearly, Cassie's in her feelings. This girl ain't even wiped the dude's blood off of her legs. And now, you know, I thought it was really weird once Nate got home. Why are you calling Nate all this craziness and this boy has almost been beat half to death? Like, why do you think that that's something that he wanted to hear? But I'm happy that her mom was like, this is not the behavior of somebody who was single. So her mama knows something is up, but she can't put her hand on it. So Nate ends up telling telling Cassie that if Maddie finds out about what happened between them, that she would spend the rest of her life trying to kill him, but she would actually kill Cassie. And Maddie definitely, like, puts me as one of them chicks who would, like, go beat the girl instead of beating the dude who's obviously the main one to blame in the first place. And when she was beating the brakes off of them other girls, I was like, clearly Maddie is about that life. And so she was scared. But when Cassie comes home from school one day, Cal raggedy behind us, sitting at the table with Lexi and her mom, and basically asking, like, who is the one who beat Nate up. And so Cassie's trying to lie, and then Cal was like, well, maybe I should just get the police chief, who's a friend of mine. Maybe I should get him up in here so he can get some truth out of you. And then she ended up snitching. Snitches get stitches, Cassie. She snitched on Fesco, so now he knows what's going on. Lexi was definitely not okay with it. But in the midst of all of this, we see that she's still hanging out with Raggedy Nate. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I thought Nate was finna kill Cassie this episode. I don't know about you. I don't know if it's just because I get bad juju whenever I see Nate pop up on the screen. I thought Nate was gonna kill Cassie. And I was like, oh, Lord, y'all did not say this fool for him to kill Cassie. I cannot believe it. Maddie ends up calling Nate. Nate ignores the phone call. Then Maddie FaceTimes Cassie. Cassie don't answer the phone either. And then, Nate was driving. I'm like, first of all, should Nate be driving right now? Because I'm sure he has a long-lasting concussion. But she says that, they roll up to this construction site. And I was like, oh, he definitely finna kill her. Like, because she was like, oh, I never been this far out before. And I was like, girl, look at the signs. He finna kill you. They go to the construction site. And then Nate is like, hey, I like you and I wish things were different, but we can't see each other. And I'm like, so fool, so you drove all the way out here to tell her that you don't want to see her no more? I mean, this is a bit much that is happening. It's a bit much that is happening right now. Clearly, he's finna kill you. So then Cassie get out of the car. She started running. I said, Beach, where are you running to, Beach? You don't even know where you at. Where are you going, Cassie? Where are you going? So she run. Nate catch up to her. Cassie? He finds her. And then I'm thinking he finna kill her, finna choke her up, because, like, Nate's crazy. I think this is a fair assumption. Maybe I watched too many episodes of Dateline NBC. I don't know. But I don't trust it. You take me to a place that I don't know. It's a construction site. Ain't nothing romantic about this. I'm thinking he finna kill her. Then he start filling up on her booty. They start kissing. Nate, again, once shows what that mouth do. And he was like, you just don't know the power that you have. And I was like, I don't like to agree with Nate, but I was with him on that. She does not understand the power that she has. And he asked her, like, how are you ever going to look Maddie in the eye again? I'm like, Beach, how you going to look Maddie in the eye again? Well, we know he crazy, so he probably like, you already know I'm crazy, so I can look her in the eye. But I was just like, Cassie trash. I don't care which way, shape, or form you look at it. Cassie is trash, all right? And then when she texts him, because she got shook when Cal brought up the phone records, and she was like, I feel bad about us having sex. Cassie is that person, you don't want to tell Cassie nothing serious you did, because she going to rat you out. She gets scared very easily. She's just not about that life. And it's okay, Cassie. Stop trying to be somebody that you're not. But she lived to tell the tale. She stayed alive. But at this point, because of the information that she gave to Cal, now Cal looking at Fesco. So Lexi, she is getting on herself about how passive she is, and she never has the courage to say anything, and she thinks about how she saw her dad stealing out the house. She didn't say anything. When she threatened Rue that she was going to tell her mom she's doing drugs, and she never said anything. And then when she found out that Rue overdosed, she blamed herself. And so she said, you know what? I'm not going to be weak and passive no more. I'm going to take life by the balls. I mean, she didn't say all of that, but that's what she was thinking. And then she went to go see Faz, and then we see Cal is following her, dummy. And she sees Faye when she walks in. And she's like, hold on, is this you? And he was like, nah, she's just a house guest. And then she was just like, oh, I'm just here to get a drink. She started getting weird again. And then he was like, you stared at the malt liquor. And she was like, I know. Things are a little awkward. Cal comes in, starts asking 15 million questions. And then Cal, even Fesco, like, do you normally ask people this many questions when you meet them? And he was like, I'm just, but, he keep asking though. Things get a little weird. I start getting a little shook. Faye looking dazed and confused like she always looking every episode. And then he reaching his pocket and I'm thinking, oh snap, he finna pull out a gun. Even Fesco looking like it. But you know who was ready? Ashtray was ready in the back, got the little cereal box and pulled the gun out. I said, baby, please don't do this because Ashtray gonna kill you and not even think twice about it. But he just puts the 20 out, say he just buying a snack, saying he a concerned father, and he leaves. And I'm just like, Cal is going to be some problems, okay? But we got a few more people to talk about. Let's talk about Kat, because what they're doing with her storyline. Now, I've been like Kat. I've been with somebody who is so sweet, and you feel like this person is perfect for me. Literally everything that I said I wanted, he is that person. But it just, you're not vibing. Sometimes people be too sweet. And I know y'all like, bitch, what? But it really happens. Like, sometimes I need somebody let me not say that because that sounds bad. Just know that I understood what Kat was going through. But when she had the daydream of either being killed by some Khal Drogo looking like, and then he talking about killing makes me hurt and started smashing her from behind, I was like, Lord. I didn't know I needed that scene. Brock or her played the little warrior guy. But it was so funny. But what was some real stuff is when Kat was talking about how self-love has become this new fad. People, like, self-hate is real. I wake up every day like, why can't I be smaller? Or why can't I have a big booty? Why can't I have this or why can't I have that? Like, that is something I really struggle with, of loving myself. And it doesn't matter if you have someone like Ethan telling you I love you and I want to be with you. It doesn't matter because it's how you feel. But I was like, shout out to Nikki Tutorials popping up on there. And I thought it was so funny, her listening to, you know, people who look the way you want to look. And they said I still have these issues too, which is true. But it's still just like, but you don't live the life that I live every single day. You don't understand. I just felt that entire scene, especially when she was talking about trying to be a bad bitch and smashing beauty standards. It was just, I felt that entire scene. I still hate that Kat is being reduced to the storyline of just having a good boyfriend that everyone loves that you don't. She was rude as hell when she invited all her friends to bowling when she's supposed to be on a date with Ethan. He looking all sad by himself. But I did like the conversation that Maddie and Jules had, because we see that because Nate gets hurt and she wants to be with him, she wants to be in the hospital bed with him, but she knows that this is a toxic relationship. And I thought it was cute, her interaction with the kid Theo, who she's babysitting. I thought she was gonna get caught with them clothes when she was trying all of the ladies' clothes, and when she asked her to come back, I thought she saw that the jewelry box was open, but she was too drunk to realize anything was happening. But when she's talking to Jules and she's talking about how she's thinking about she wants to get back with Nate, and Jules is like, don't do that, sis. Don't do that at all. And she talks about how she can't help it. And Jules says, like, I wish that you can see how the world looks at you. And I was like, I felt that. That was some real stuff right there. But I was also laughing how Jules said, I'm going to sneak out and come to your house. And Jules totally ignored her message like, this trick, I'm sick of her already. I like that conversation. I really hope that we get to talk a little bit more about her realizing she's in a toxic relationship with Nate and actually exploring where all of that actually stems from a little bit more. But I think that's pretty much it. Faz ends up hearing like a thump in the middle of the night, and it's Faye who's staying with him because she threw the hotel manager off the balcony, and Custer wants her to stay with him so the cops don't get her. He hears a thump. I'm thinking Calvin broke into the damn house. It's Faye raggedy behind, laying on the floor with the needle on her leg. She's trying to do heroin, and he helps her back. But the episode ends when Nate comes home. He sees someone's in his room. It's Cal. He asks, like, why did a little low-level punk drug dealer beat you? And then he basically says, well, he was like, hey, Dad, remember that girl from a class she smashed? And I was like, sir. He was like, well, it turns out that she told her friend, who is a drug dealer, her friend, and then her friend told the drug dealer, and now they know about the tape. Now, Cal was looking shook. He was like, let me apologize. He was like, but wait, do you have the tape? And then it just went off. So I don't know what's going to happen. Is Cal going to go for Fezco, come for him? What's going to happen between them? Because you know Cal just as crazy as Nate. You know he get this crazy from his daddy in the first place. So I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, things not looking too good for Cal. Ain't looking too good for Fezco. Things ain't never looking good for Nate. Cassie just still being stupid. And I hope that Maddie and Kat and everybody can just see the work that they have. And clearly Rue is just going down a dark and dangerous path. But yeah, I was still here for this week's episode. Just seeing Nate ass beat is when it opened up again and just touched my heart a little bit, okay? It touched my heart. But yeah, those are my quick thoughts on Euphoria Season 2, Episode 2, Out of Hand. As always, my name is Sharana from Para Waits. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye.